What's up? You're with Kato. You're on channel APA. I got into music mostly because my parents made me play cello as a little kid. Kind of like a lot of Asian Americans, we all played sort of instruments. I chose the cello. I had a choice, unlike some of my friends that I knew. But I chose cello, and I enjoyed it, and there was definitely a lot of push from the parents. And I started when I was about 5, and I played since then. As far as professionally, it was really after college, and I was kind of getting a job, and I realized that none of this conventional stuff I really liked, and I was like, well, what do I like doing? Well, I like writing music, I like writing lyrics, so I was like, well, maybe I should go and try to pursue music as a career. I've been influenced, well, obviously by classical music, so I mean, I've played everything from Bach suites to songs by Hindemith. So it's a wide range. I personally love Baroque music the best. So in that era is kind of my favorite. But as far as more modern music, a lot of rock, early rock from like 50s, 60s, 70s, even into the 80s, just got a little weird. But there's some amazing songwriters that occurred in sort of the rock revolution, and then I go for things that are a little more out there. Obviously hip hop was a big influence, so you know, I listened to Wu-Tang, KRS-One, Tribe Called Quest, all the way to Jay-Z, Mos Def. So they're very popular and sort of the ones in the outskirts a little bit. And but I always like the people who try to break the mold, like Outkast and Kid Cudi and those types of things. So that was definitely a big influencer on me, especially being someone who is going a completely different route and completely in your own lane. And I know you hear it a lot, but when you hear my music, you realize it really is in its own lane. Let's see, it was more so I was trying to get into hip hop, and then I realized all the classical could be used in such a unique way in hip hop that people really haven't explored, and especially since hip hop is very sample based, and that's how it originated. But now you're finding a lot of hip hop artists who have the talent to write very unique music, unique chord progressions, and so once I sort of learned the standard, learned the basics of how to write music, write a song, I started just pulling from what sounded good to me, which ended up being very classical type music. And so my writing style is very classical, and then I realized I really didn't have to sample, because what a lot of people would sample was originally written and I was able to write. So that's kind of how it transitioned more from hip hop to being very classical based hip hop. But mostly I just went out. As far as if you want to get involved in anything, you have to be out there, you have to meet people, and that's what I did. I just went out there. I call my musical style counterpoint, and it comes from counterpoint in classical music, where you really, a lot of classical composers would like to explore having a melody and then a second melody, and then both those melodies work together in conjunction at the same time. And so that's like the counterpoint or counter melodies you see. So what I wanted to explore was, here you have hip hop and you have this fantastic lyricism, and you have usually very stark and kind of more sparse beats, although filled out not really melody based. And so what I wanted to explore was taking my cello, providing that melody that was very classically influenced, and then having the counterpoint, which is my lyricism, and putting the two together, because the lyrics really are, in essence, a melody. And so that's what I call a counterpoint. And you'll notice in my music that it goes beyond just one melody and the lyrics. Actually, there's a lot of usual counter melodies going on, different instruments that are all playing different things, and chord progressions which really add irregularity to the sound, and that's sort of how my music is. The upcoming album is all of my sound, the idea of counterpoints in that style being finally brought together. It is written very classically influenced with a hip-hop structure, but then it goes out and pulls from different genres. So like there's a pull from jazz, there's different pulls from kind of pop music, and just different stylistic pulls that ends up becoming the whole thing. And usually in hip-hop you get a lot of depth in the lyrics, a lot of irony, and different ideas being brought, multiple levels, and I take that. You do it in the lyrics, but I also do it in the music. So there's sort of those little things you can hear in the music, which if you know your music well, and you know a lot of that stuff, you'll pick up a lot of that as well. I have 2 music videos that we just finished, and a 3rd that we're looking at shooting right now. The first video is your basic kind of day in the life. It's a little different. There's a sort of juxtaposition between sort of the workers and how life is in Chicago, being that's my hometown, and sort of my day and things that I do every day, meetings and stuff like that. So you really get to see how I work and just a lot of the business behind what the music, the music is the face, but there's the business that has to be behind that. And then also just the love for the cello and my music, that's really what it is. And that song is called Colegno. It's hitting the radios now. Check it out here. It's on my website too, but it's an amazing song. It's written completely from cello samples. Like all the music is from the cello. There's the drums are all based on cello samples. The cello obviously in there, and then the lyrics are all kind of like an ode to classical music. So it's really creative and interesting in how that's put together. The second video pulls from our generation's history. I'm gonna kind of leave it as a surprise because it's really cool and everyone's just gonna trip out when they see it. But you'll definitely recognize it if you're kind of in our generation, college and post-college, and you'll see it. But the basic song really goes into the idea of traveling through your life and how life is a journey, and the experiences kind of help you understand who you are as a person. And so there's that depth, but then there's also it flips it on you at the same time. So it's really cool. We're going to premiere it on channel APA coming up next year, early on I believe. So that, you just gotta have to tune in and check it out. What projects do I have coming up? Okay, so the music videos are being released, the album's being released next year. I will be touring around and promoting for the album, playing some festivals probably, or some big shows. We'll see how it goes. I also have some acting stuff that I'm going to be doing. I got this short film that we're going to be shooting next year. I'll be starring in it with rapper GLC, who is one of the coolest guys I've ever met. And it's going to be this kind of comedy thing, so it should be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a short, so I get to kind of flex my acting muscles a little bit and do a little something different. So that should be really creative, and that should kind of be fun to do a little comedy. The best place is my website, mckato.com. You can obviously Google MC Kato and you'll bring up pretty much everything, but mckato.com is going to have obviously the quickest updates and everything, and you'll link it to my Facebook page, my MySpace page, my Twitter, and you can check out everything there, pictures, videos, whatnot. mckato.com.